And we are live. Isn't
Yeah.
that great? It didn't even give me a chance to prepare for this. Whatever. It's Nicola and I on here live in the group, having background issues around this. And today we are going to be talking about the repurposing of your content. And we're going to use Nicola's most recent debut on Nick. What's his name? Nick Cree?
Nick Cree.
Nick, he's got an amazing group and he does these profiles of people, and she was his guest expert. And so we're going to be talking about how you can be repurposing your content, because you definitely should be. As I said in the notes for this particular live, you will pay upwards of $500 just to get one episode's content repurposed, like, which indicates to you like there's the value in there. If people are doing this, there's a reason. It's marketing gold. So we're going to be talking about the different ways you can do it, and then we're going to talk about what Nicola did and how she can be repurposing hers. So I just want to throw out there a little like random note. I just had my COVID vaccine shot about 2 hours ago, and I'm feeling a little woozy. So if it happens that I just like fall off the perch, Nicola, I trust that you will carry on.
Well, no, I think we might get you some help first. What do you reckon?
Hopefully the clunk won't be too loud and overwhelm your audio.
Is Mike within reach?
Hopefully he'll hear the clunk.
Yeah.
He just had his as well. So
Oh, right.
who knows? Could be a double clunk.
Gosh.
Did you know that women tend to have more adverse reactions to the vaccine than men
of course.
do? I guess we've got more active immune responses.
Totally. Just more everything, really.
We need all these extra things piled on. Thanks. So anyways, repurposing your content. First of all, just to kind of get us in the zone here, tell us what it was that you did week before last on Nick's show.
Okay, so I created a presentation and a topic around brand videos, which is my expert area. So I create brand videos for small businesses, and he has a number of different guests on, but what he likes to do is kind of zoom in on one particular topic, which was brand video. So I do other kinds of videos as well, but that was what we did. So it was how to create an authentic brand video that will get results. So looking at that title, I had to not just talk about the brand video, but I had to talk about how to get the results. And I had 45 to 50 minutes to fill, which was quite a lot. Freaked me out a little.
That's a sizable chunk of time to be filling.
Yeah, especially since it was my first live webinar, but that was okay. I got really good feedback, and I'm thrilled that I did it. So I looked at, apart from talking about my 5-step formula that I use with all my clients for videos, I thought I needed to add in a little bit more value as well, in terms of someone thinking about following those 5 steps, what would they then want to do next? So I covered really 3 main topics. So the brand video, then the camera confidence or camera personality stuff, and then distribution of the video, how to get it out there. So I created, I worked it out at about, this may be useful for some people, if you have one slide for every kind of 2 minutes, you're probably about right. So if you are having to prepare something that long, so I had around 22, 23 slides. So that was when I knew that I'd be able to fill the 45 minutes. And I used Canva Present, which I highly recommend.
I was surprised when you talked about that. I'd never actually heard of being able to do these things in Canva.
It may only be for pro users, I'm not sure, because I have Canva Pro, but it's the benefit of it is you don't have to go and hunt and find the photos because you're in Canva, so they're all there. You just drag them onto your presentation. So and there's some really nice templates. So I used some great templates for it, and it just came together. It took me probably 6 hours to produce the presentation, so it's not a small job.
Which definitely speaks to, you better repurpose this baby. Both your presentation and the results out of the recording.
Yeah.
That's a sizable investment.
Repurposing it is going to be easy because I've got the 3 individual kind of topics as well. So I'll be able to repurpose the whole thing, and I have already done that, shared it with some Facebook groups that I'm a member of. And I have plans, haven't yet done because it was only a week or so ago, but I have plans to chunk it into those 3 areas. I'll probably also, thanks to your advice, September, look at creating an ebook from the content.
Definitely.
Yeah.
It's shocking when you're on there for like you're on a podcast or an video interview show like that, and you're talking for 30 minutes, 40 minutes, 50 minutes. You've got so much when you transcribe that thing. Oh my God, you've got the start of an ebook, especially if you put all the time into it. So it's all this great, valuable, concise information like you did.
Yeah, I shared a lot of statistics at the beginning, so that's something that people like to refer back to. So I guess, yeah, in an ebook that would work well. So yeah, so it was really worthwhile, and it kind of it would also build my confidence to do it again. So those of you that are thinking about doing a podcast or a webinar, the first one is going to be a little bit nerve wracking, but I'm so glad I did it, and I'm more than comfortable. In fact, I am doing it again. I'm probably going to present that same presentation with another podcast host. So yeah, it's really exciting to have that there to be able to repurpose that as well.
Is it going to be a podcast host or a video podcast or?
Sorry, video podcast. Yeah. So it is a video podcast.
Yeah, definitely. So I mean, I was thinking you could be doing an ebook. You could be making like a mini course that could just be like a standalone passive income thing that you've got on your website for people who come. I mean, if they don't want to hire you, you've given them a lot of information in that masterclass how to do it. Put that on your website for $197 American or $6 million
Really?
New Zealand. I don't know what the conversion rate is.
Or $197 American would be about nearly $400 New Zealand.
Wow.
Yeah. We don't do so well with American purchases.
Yeah, but it says we're live, sweetheart. But anyways, we are recording. So a little bit of post-COVID vaccine. So anyways, yeah, so let's talk about some of the ways that like it's possible for anybody, any content that you've got from your podcast, from like what you did, just give an overview of some of the ways that you can be repurposing your content, and then we'll look at it and like what you've done, what you're going to do. One of the things that like just big things, think about that for your marketing, just your marketing. Like if you're doing Facebook ads or YouTube ads, Google ads, LinkedIn ads, you're going to have some kind of content that they go to. Video is great. You can be using any kind of your post thumbnails from what was created through the podcast or what you've created in your case. That stuff is so compelling, especially if they can hear your voice, because that audio is really going to pull somebody in if they're somebody that's your audience. So make sure use your content for your marketing. Definitely. Anytime I've had to do social media ads, I usually use an agency, and they ask me like, well, what content should we use? Most powerful stuff is showing you in action. So even just, if in your case, extract a clip or extract a couple of clips so that, when it goes through
because I do have at the end of it, the other stuff actually that's quite useful. After the 45-minute presentation, there was a Q&A at the end. And so even some of that was will be useful to repurpose, like people asking me questions around where's the best place to store their video, or how do they
FAQs, video FAQ right there on your website.
That's right.
It's not only informative, but it's also kind of like you've got that social proof there that's like she's doing this, and people are asking her that, like subconsciously it's positioned you as the authority. So definitely use it in your marketing on your website. And Nicola, this isn't just for you, because I know you're doing a fairly good job using all your stuff. But on your website, when it comes to podcasts or video interviews, like yours was a video interview come masterclass. It was
Thank you. Yeah, I like that description. That made me feel it was really worthwhile.
Yeah, and have that on your website. A lot of people have now media pages, and it can be wherever you have. It could be say a virtual conference or a summit or a live event or a interview / masterclass like yours, or a video podcast. Get it on there. It could be, some people strictly are going for podcasts, and they've got like podcast appearances or my podcast shows or whatever. Create a media page and have whatever you want to use. try to get some conformity in the thumbnails that you're using, and have them click to all these different amazing places and things.
Yeah. Well, the
And
one thing I have done is I've asked for the raw footage of it, so I can actually add my own thumbnail when I repurpose it. So I will get that, and yeah, so then I will be able to have some uniformity. And I love that idea of putting it on my website as a media tab. That's a really good idea.
Yeah. And the one thing I would suggest about that, if you're thinking about doing a media, anybody thinking of doing a media section, it's a great idea.
You could be starring in that, September.
Yes, sure.
In fact, you will be.
Oh, okay. And so what you want to do with that is make sure, I saw an example the other day, a gal that wanted to be on my podcast. Unfortunately, she's not the one you introduced me to, Nicola, but another gal from Australia, and she's not the audience for my upcoming season. My upcoming season is going to be focused on women in business doing awesome shit. I do not know why I feel compelled to keep using that term, but I like that term.
Why not?
And she, as much as she wasn't suited to my show, she had a fabulous pitch. You could tell this was not her first radio, and she had her media page. However, on her media page, she has been on probably 40 podcasts. So she had them all there, which strategically, okay, it's like proof of concept. Yes, you've been on podcast episodes, and they're all clickable. But she was not at all discerning as to what it was she put up there. She kind of did it in chronological order. Some of them were crap.
Oh dear.
If somebody clicks on that crappy one,
oh dear,
then that's going to be their impression of you. So I would highly recommend, for your media page, when you're going to put up the thumbnails, put up the ones that when they do click through, you're a rock star. And for the rest of them, just hyperlink them down below, like say, whatever the show is called or whatever, and hyperlink it so they can go there. But they're less apt to go there. They're more apt to go to the ones that you've chosen as the ones that really are the ones you want people to see. So definitely reuse that stuff on your media section. And you can also be using it. In fact, I've got web developers working on my new website right now. They're going to be putting a clip from one of my recent podcast appearances. But because it was, I think it came in at about 35 minutes. It's too heavy and it's going to slow down the load speed of my page. So what I've done is extract kind of 1 minute and some seconds from the beginning of it, and we'll put it on the web page, on the about page. So it's nice and light. I've compressed it, and it's only about 10 megs. And then a button will appear, see more, and that'll then take them over to the YouTube.
Yes.
So it's a bit of a taster. It's also not onerous. When you click on a video and it goes 1 hour and 50 minutes.
Yes, exactly. You think, oh gosh, I'll leave that for another day.
It makes me want to leave right away. So, if it's just a short thing, just enough to give them a taste of you. So yeah, you can be reusing any of your video content, and you've got some great stuff in there from that latest thing you did. I would have that on your about page. So they just kind of get the feel of you and your warmth, get your expertise, and also his regard for you.
Yes. No, he's a really good host, as are you. And so, and that's another thing I would say to people: be very careful of who you do sign up to do podcasts and video podcasts with, because watch a few things that they've done before, or partake in a webinar that they're doing if you can prior to guesting, because if it's all about them and you don't get very much airtime, then it's not ideal. And you won't get your point across, because they'll be trying to kind of sell their side of things more than.
And
if they're not engaged either, they need to be engaged in what
they're supportive of this event, of presenting you and your expertise.
Exactly.
And know that, especially if it's your first one, you want to know that you've got somebody that's gotcha.
Exactly.
Like you might be nervous and you're playing with your slides and it's your first time, but they've got your back. That is a great person to have. So yes, be very careful. No, definitely.
He's been doing it a long time, so I think he's a good one to have. And I'm looking forward to my next one. I've checked out her podcasts, and she's really good too. So it's exciting.
Rack them up, baby.
Yeah.
So like I haven't said this a million times, podcast and interview videos are some of the most convincing, most persuasive content that you could be using for your business. Do not miss out on the opportunity and use that stuff. So we've got using it in your marketing, using it on your website.
Yes.
Blog posts. If you do any kind of blog post, what you can do is get a transcription of your interview. And that's easy enough to do using otter.ai, which is my favorite tool. It's free, and you get something like 500 free minutes a month. I never exceed my limit. And you can just
Wow.
transcribe anything, and it's so accurate. It's like one of the best ones I've ever seen.
Right. Better than rev.com.
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
And
Oh,
it's
that's good to
free.
know.
Yeah. And it like,
Okay.
do you know a little insider secret? If I need to be transcribing something, I don't want to be tying up my machine and me, because you have to kind of be quiet. So I'll turn the video on to like 1.75 speed. It can even
Mhm.
transcribe when you're doing this rapid fire blah, 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 blah audio that I can
Oh,
hardly
wow.
understand. It transcribes it. So I highly recommend otter.ai. Goes on your phone.
Okay.
It's that good. Zoom has partnered with it.
Oh, right. Is it, are you able to do subtitles with that? Or just
If you've got
transcribe?
a pro, yeah, with Zoom, you can do the subtitles. If you've got the version of Zoom that allows you to do that,
Okay, no, I don't.
they
Yeah.
integrate, and you can actually have the live subtitles right there.
Okay.
But what you do with the transcription, you've got this now. Usually, you'll find that what you said reads terribly, because we speak differently than we read. So you got to clean it
We
up a
do.
little bit. But because you're going to have such a wealth of content in that, you can break that out into blog posts based on the transcription. But
Yeah.
another way you can use them is to talk about your insights or your takeaways from that conversation,
Mm.
and then use it as a reference point, which is going to evoke curiosity and interest to actually go and look at your stuff or listen to your stuff.
Exactly.
And
That's
it
what you
also,
want.
so you're leveraging your content, because
Yeah.
what we did in our conversation, say in an interview, was great, and there's great content there. But there was probably thoughts going through your head at the time or even later when you looked at it. It was like, oh, that was really good. It illustrated XYZ. There's the theory. There's the content for a blog post.
Mm. Mm.
And then you're
Yeah,
referencing
yeah.
it, so you're getting two bangs for your buck there. They're reading your blog post. Hopefully it's informative, but they're also then going to want to look at what was the original material that inspired this.
Exactly. And you put links in your blog as well. So
Absolutely.
yeah,
Yes.
loads of links.
Yes. So you can use them in your blog post like that, and you can mix and dice. Don't just do one of these things. If you got something that's like just killer, reuse that thing over and over, and don't worry about, oh, I did it last month or I did it 2 months ago. Keep using that thing. So
Yes.
no longer look like your picture. Keep using it. If it's good, right? Unless, something gets outdated, like the equipment you're referring to is now something that even then you can say,
Yes.
even then you can update it and say, hey, refresh it and say, this is the 2021 version. Back then I was talking about this. What you should be using now is I've got this great recommendation for this. So again, you're leveraging
Exactly.
it. Next thing I would highly suggest, for either whether you've done a video thing or an audio thing, is audiograms. And there is a free site called headliner.com.
Oh.
And you can pump in your audio, you can pump in a video clip. And for the free version, you only get so much time per month. Not only will it create an audiogram, like one of those, well, if you put in an image, it will transcribe what's being said, and it puts in the sound wave. So it makes what is actually a static post a little bit more dynamic, because you're seeing the sound wave. I know it sounds really simple, but it's actually quite compelling.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
use it for most of my podcast episodes. I'll put in like a little audiogram clip.
What a good idea.
Yeah, and it's so simple to do. And I think probably 2 years, 3 years, 5 years from now, people are going to go like, audiograms, but they still catch eyeballs much more
Yes.
than a static post does. So,
Okay.
and then you can do them either in like IG square form, or you can do them in the landscape form, like for YouTube or for a Facebook
Okay.
post. You can produce two out of one. So you put some over here, you put some over there, and you can use them again way into the future. You don't have to just do it right now. The audiograms are good for that. For your social posts, they're great for including in your email newsletter,
Yes.
because they're really light. They're really, when it comes to file size, they're really quite light, and you can add them in your email newsletter or link to them onto your site.
Yeah.
You can then use them on your website.
Mm.
If you don't have your media page, if you could sprinkle them throughout your website, especially if they're like
Exactly.
clips where you're talking about something that was like, man, I sounded like a genius when I said that. Put that clip on your website. Also, landing pages when you're selling a new product or you're advertising an event.
Yes.
Those things are so much better than just a static landing page. It gives you, especially if you're going to be talking, it's an enticement. Now for you, because you're going to be redoing that masterclass, I wouldn't use an audiogram. I'd use actually a clip. Don't give them too much, but give them a clip out of the original interview that you did with Nick on a
Okay.
landing page when you're advertising for that, assuming that you're going to get to the point where you're going to turn this into a monetized thing, and you should.
Yes. Well, hopefully. Yes. Yes. No, I will. I will.
Don't make me come over there.
Okay.
Or make me come over there. I'd love to go to New Zealand.
You're very welcome.
So audiograms, simple thing that really are flashy right now. Easy enough to use. As I said, that's headliner.com. In your social media posts, you can grab all kinds, or make, in your case, because you did that training thing. How many slides did you say you had? In excess of
22, I think, 23.
Out of that, I bet you at least half of them would make really good images for social media posts, or at least,
Yes,
partial
they would
ones.
actually. They would actually. Yeah. I
And
didn't
each
even
one of
think
them
about that.
speaks to, each one of them speaks to an area of your genius that you were bringing out in this thing. And again, link each one of these back to the real show. So they get a taste of you and they go, wow, she's a bomb. What else has she got? And then they see the whole thing.
Yeah, good point. Very good point.
When it comes to, if it's strictly a podcast, I mean, as I had mentioned, mine is a video podcast, so you get both pieces of content. But if it's just a podcast, you can you can make your own thumbnail out of the thumbnail, because the person had to make a thumbnail for the show.
Yeah.
Any kind of podcast hosting platform requires you to put up a thumbnail to go with it. Usually a good host will supply you with the thumbnail that they used. And if they don't, ask for it. They're not going to say no, because you're actually helping promote their stuff. So get that thumbnail, and you can, again, use it on the website on your media page, or you can use it as a post, talking about what it was you did in that thing.
Yeah. So you've given me a lot of homework here, September.
This is just options. This is just some of the stuff you can be doing.
I know. I'm writing notes and I'm going, oh my gosh. So I need to do that. Okay. Another about 3 days work here. No, it's not that long, but it's really worthwhile.
There are actually companies that do repurposing. I ran across one.
Yeah.
Actually, I'm talking to somebody on Thursday who reached out to me, and that's her gig. She does repurposing for people's podcasts. And I'm not sure what her pricing is. And there's always, I mean, you and I have talked about the option of actually hiring somebody offshore to do it.
Yeah.
That's
outsourcing is definitely where I'm headed, because I'm starting to get a little bit overloaded. So I do need to do that. But joking aside, all those things you've mentioned, they're not going to take me 3 days, but they are things that will.
But they're jerky little things that aren't really bringing in, like that's not where Nickel's best used. Or September, I should be telling myself that. But you can go like, oh well, I'll just do this, and you start mucking around with it, and you do produce really good marketing content, and so you should. But how much time is it taking? So if you can find somebody to help you with that.
Yeah, I do need to do that. So thank you for reminding me. Yes.
And the last thing, as you had mentioned, the whole ebook or course thing. Everything that you're doing is such rich fodder for content, for a course, for a book. Because
I've seen courses along similar lines, I suppose, or seen them advertised, particularly around your building your camera personality. I mean, that was a short part of the presentation, but even if I did it as a 5-minute, which might appeal to some people, 5-minute lesson for $9.99 or something, I could do that, and I can chunk it into separate kind of topics as well, around making sure you've got yourself presented well, so I can add to it. I've just thought about that. So the camera personality part of that podcast, I focused on, right, you're on camera, this is what you need to do, but I could maybe talk about before you go on camera, do this, when you get on camera, do that. So there's I could build on it even.
And don't forget, if you're a specialist in your area, which you definitely are, we are all specialists in our own area, we tend to discount the value of just the small, what we think of as like, well, that's hardly anything. But to somebody who's coming to it brand new and they don't have that information, they don't have that knowledge, that is gold.
Yes.
So don't overload it with too much detail. If they want more detail, I could coach you.
Yes.
Become my client. But what you put together in that one training thing that you did, that we keep referencing it. Yeah, so valuable. So
thank you.
Ebooks, courses, The potential's there. And if you're
Yep.
going to keep doing the same presentation, which, I mean, do it. Definitely do it.
Yeah.
It's almost like your signature talk, and it's you're just going to get better and better. And
Yeah,
with every time you do it, you're going to get to the point where you're going to go, that's the one. And or pick and choose out of a couple of episodes, and like, this is one of the modules for my course, and this is a module for my course.
Yeah, because it's a lot of work. As I say, it took me about 6 hours to put that 45-minute talk together, and so yeah, it does take up a lot of space in your day. So you want to make sure you can use it more than once, I think. So yeah, no, I will definitely use it with the next one I'm doing, and even if I use chunks of it for other ones, it'd be great. Yeah, no, it was really worthwhile. I highly recommend to everyone to give it a go, and do the preparation, do your research, include some interesting statistics, all those things just help people kind of, it just helps the wow factor, I suppose, when people go, oh wow, that many people use video, or that many more people will watch my website if I have a video on it. Things like that, they capture people's attention. So, and also a little bit of interactive stuff. So that was the other thing I did in the middle of it, was the doing the camera personality stuff. There was a little bit of interactive, so it meant that they had to think about it, and kind of, they had to think about how they would do things if they were on camera. So I got them thinking about it and left a pause and then moved on. So yeah, it's a bit of work, but it's well worthwhile. And the benefit is, as you've been saying, is this is so much material now that I've got to share, on many different platforms. I mean, thank you for sharing the headliner.com audiogram. I'd never heard of an audiogram until today, so there you go.
Yeah, it's surprisingly attractive to when way more views than a static post.
Interesting. So it'll just be like a little sound wave picture on the screen.
You can even choose the kind of sound wave you want. You can have, I mean, I usually went for one that was like horizontally across the lower third area of my thumbnail. And for one of my podcasts, the one with Atlanta Redemption Inc. talking about, we had a different art on the graphic. And the speaker, the woman that I had interviewed, her picture happened to be a circle. So you can even get a circle radiating sound waves outward. So it was like this radiation of sound waves coming from her image. It sounds
that would be
sounds
cool.
lame, but it was really cool.
Yeah, that would be cool.
Yeah, so it lets you choose what kind of sound wave representation you want, so you can use your brand colors.
Yeah.
Your colors for the background.
Awesome.
You can transcribe.
Awesome.
So
yeah, no, that would be great. I will definitely do that.
That is basically today's rant, rave, and see, I didn't fall over, so there were no like pyrotechnics.
That's good.
But we deep-ish discussion about making sure you repurpose that content from whatever you're doing, be it a podcast, a video podcast, an interview in somebody's group, or a masterclass like Nicola did.
Yeah,
because that seriously is gold. It is gold. One other little comment I wanted to make, I just found out recently, I don't know if I'd mentioned it to you. Getting yourself interviewed is recognized as such value that the most expensive so far that I've heard of, you can pay $18,000 US to be interviewed by this organization. That people are paying $18,000 US to go on and be interviewed for under an hour tells you they recognize the value of this kind of content. Having somebody interview you and then having that captured audio or video or both doesn't get any better than that now. Maybe in the future there'll be new like scratch and sniff technology, but for the time being, this is it. Is this the vaccine talking? But anyways, Nicola, did you have any final comments you wanted to make?
Just that I think the first time you do this, you will be nervous, as I've said, but I really feel much more confident about the next time I go on to a webinar or podcast. And yeah, that's my big takeaway, and also the phenomenal amount of content, and all the different opportunities that could bring. Ebooks, that could be passive income. So it's amazing when you break it down and you really look at the content that you've shared. It is gold. So yeah, go out there and do it, ladies.
Yes, definitely. And if you've got any questions about it, ask me, ask Nicola. Let's do this thing. Well, Nicola, thank you so much for being on with me today.
No problem.
Okay, I will be talking to you soon. Enjoy your day. Are you actually really wearing your pajamas?
No, I'm not. I did manage to get dressed.
It's crack
but I
of
do
dawn.
have bed here.
It's crack of dawn-ish in New Zealand. So I said it's okay if you
no,
wear
it's
your
not
pajamas.
crack of dawn. It's just I'm a night owl, so yeah, it's early for me.
Seems like crack of dawn. So have a wonderful day. Thanks so much.
You too.
Okay.
Take care.
Bye.
Bye.